Have you ever wondered how shifting your focus from problems to possibilities could transform your journey with post-traumatic stress disorder? What if the key to healing lies not in confronting your weakness, but embracing your strengths and values? Today, we're unlocking the power of positive psychology to navigate the path towards recovery. So today we're going to dive into the topic, the power of positive psychology, using strengths and values to navigate PTSD. Now, in the demanding world of first responders, PTSD is challenging that we all may face. But what if the road to recovery doesn't have to be a struggle against those symptoms that you're dealing with? What if, instead, it could be a journey powered by innate strength and guided by your core values? In this episode, we're going to discover how positive psychology shifts the focus from what's wrong to what's strong. We'll discover how identifying personal strengths like resilience, leadership, and empathy can serve as a powerful tool in overcoming trauma. We'll also dive into how aligning your recovery efforts with core values such as service, courage, integrity can deepen your motivation and transform the healing process into a value-driven journey. So whether you're a first responder grappling with PTSD, a loved one offering support, or someone interested in transforming power of psychology, this episode is packed with insights and practical strategies to help you not only survive, but truly thrive. Welcome to Shields Down, Healing for First Responders, the podcast supporting those on the front lines as they navigate PTSD and trauma. Each episode brings stories of resilience, expert insights, and tools for recovery, offering hope and a path forward. So put your shield down, reclaim your strength, and remember, you're not alone. So I want you to first understand what positive psychology is and its impact on PTSD recovery. So positive psychology focuses on building strengths and fostering well-being rather than solely addressing defects or problems. So by facing and focusing on personal strengths and core values, first responders such as yourself can find empowering tools to navigate the challenges of PTSD. So how is this relevant? Positive psychology, it's a branch. Okay, it's a branch of psychology that emphasizes the study and promotion of well-being, strengths, and optimal functioning rather than merely focusing on the mental illness or deficiencies. Now, as first responders, we deal with PTSD, right? I think I've said about 80 to 90% of first responders are going to suffer at some time in their career with post-traumatic stress disorder. So if you look at positive psychology, this approach kind of offers a paradigm shift from the traditional methods that primarily address the symptoms and the problems, focusing on the past. It concentrates on what's strong instead of what's wrong, right? Positive psychology empowers you as an individual to harness your innate abilities and your virtues, right? Focusing on the personal strengths that you have, which can lead to enhanced resilience because you're not looking at the outside world, you're looking at what you have within you already. And this is going to enable you to cope more effectively with the trauma experiences that you're going through. Positive psychology also focuses a growth mindset, right? And it's going to encourage you to view challenges as opportunities for personal development rather than these insurmountable obstacles. You'll be able to turn your mountains into molehills, not the other way around. And that's how growth happens. When you can learn to see situations going on in your life and you can learn to go, okay, how do I move forward from this? What is the obstacle I can defeat? This is where you begin to use your power. Now, I've been dealing with a client here over the past few days that he's having suicidal tendencies. And I've been speaking with him and I'm like, well, what about this? No, the only way I can do it is to commit suicide. Okay, well, how about looking at it like this? No, the only way I can do is to commit suicide. And I'm at the point here where the Band-Aid solution that I have right now isn't going to work for him. And he's going to have to go and see a counselor. He's going to have to go see a psychologist because I don't have the ability as a coach to kind of push him over that edge. And he needs to seek that professional help. So that's kind of where I'm going with him. So I wanted to show you, but that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad to go, okay, you need to step back. You need to look, okay, now it's time to focus differently because my methods aren't working. And I don't take that as a bad thing. I'm focused on you, my friends. I'm focused on your healing and what I can do to help you get that journey best. But sometimes you'll hit a point, you'll hit that wall, and you can't push through that wall until you learn different techniques. Maybe instead of me handing you a little hammer that I have, a counselor or a therapist is going to give you a sledgehammer. They're going to teach you how to use a bulldozer to knock down that wall. And then after you've knocked down that wall, you begin to see different insights that I've given. And you're like, okay, yeah, I get it now. Because we don't learn things until we're ready to learn things, if that makes sense. Your teacher doesn't show up until you're ready to learn. So if you're at a point where it's like, no, I can only see one solution. Try to find a different path to go down, right? You're walking a straight and narrow path. It's time to broaden your path and go, okay, I need to turn left at this back alley and see what kind of options I have down there so that I can move into the next phase of my journey. Don't repeatedly get stuck. There's more than one solution to every problem. And when you get stuck on a single solution, you minimize that problem. And you minimize the solution and saying, this is all I got. But you need to broaden that. You need to go bigger. And you need to create that journey through different pathways. Now, through positive psychology, I'll get back onto the topic, is it helps you harness personal strengths and the core values to help and assist in overcoming post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, as first responders, we possess a unique set of personal strengths and core values, right? We're the ones running in when people are running out. This gives us such a sense in our personal strengths and values as bravery, dedication, a strong sense of duty. And positive psychology encourages the identification and utilization of these attributes as tools for recovery, right? We're brave at work, but then when it comes to certain situations in our own life, we're not, right? We're dedicated in responding when somebody needs help, but when we need help, we don't respond. But when you can begin to align these core values and begin to find greater meaning and purpose in your experiences, this is going to be crucial for that healing process, because you foster the strength that you already have within you for others, and you begin to use it for yourself, for problem-solving skills, to help, a team, right? Compassion can really boost self-efficiency and confidence in a team. And this strength-based approach is not only going to mitigate symptoms of your PTSD, but it's going to also promote your overall well-being. And it's going to lead to that more fulfilling professional and personal life. Now, when you're integrating positive psychology practices into your life, it's going to enhance your well-being, right? Just like I said, it's not going to just stop at your post-traumatic stress disorder. It's gonna enhance overall, right? Techniques like gratitude journaling, mindfulness meditation, strength-based activities, these are going to cultivate that positive emotion and reduce your stress, right? When you can regularly reflect on things that you're grateful for, this can shift your attention away from those traumatic memories, and it can assist in fostering a more optimistic outlook. Mindfulness practices help to stay grounded, right? So if you're creating a more optimistic outlook, and then you begin to ground yourself in the present moment, this is going to reduce that anxiety. It's going to assist in reducing hyperarousal symptoms, which are very common in first responders with PTSD. But you have to actively engage in these practices, right? And if you do, you can build emotional resilience. You can improve your mental health, and you can enhance your capacity to navigate these challenges associated with the demands of our roles. But again, my friends, it's a purpose thing. You have to purposely say, I'm going to create my life the way I want to create my life. You can't sit back and say, no, this is the only path I have. I can only see one outcome. And my friends, most of the time, I trust all the time, from me for sure, I'm never going to allow you to sit on one outcome. There's always more than just one outcome. You know, life is not a math problem. 2 + 2 is 4 in math. But 2 + 2 in life is infinity. You can always find a solution to the problem. Sometimes you have to look deeper. Sometimes it takes time to find the solution. Right? In the situation with my son, when I lost Lucas, it took me years to get out of that I only have one solution to finding many different solutions for that, and to find my purpose and to find meaning and create it, because it didn't make sense. So sometimes you have to really look at the overall picture and create that life that you want. And this begins with identifying and leveraging your personal strengths, right? When you can recognize your unique strengths, whether it's resilience, leadership, empathy, this can really offer a powerful buffer against those negative impacts of PTSD. The strengths help in coping with stress, reducing anxiety, maintaining a sense of control over your mental health. But you have to recognize it. Right? If you're not looking at your strengths, you're only looking at where you failed, or you're only looking at your weaknesses, you're not going to make it to finding that strength. But you have to look at it within yourself. Now, these inherent qualities not only help you cope with stress, but it's also going to reduce that anxiety and foster that sense of control. Because when we're diagnosed with PTSD, it's your mind has created an uncontrolled circumstance that you've been placed in. It doesn't understand, which causes that confusion state in your mind. But if you can get back control, even in a little sense, this is going to shift your journey, and it's going to help you improve and move into that next phase. But you have to leverage your own personal strength. So, let's say, for example, you possess strong problem-solving skills, right? You can apply them to your negative triggers and challenging situations more effectively. And as first responders, I feel that most of us possess strong problem-solving skills, because we come into a situation and we have to respond to it quickly and efficiently. You know, as firefighters, as police officers, as correctional officers, as EMS, as 911 dispatchers, as military personnel, any first responder, or people that have a tendency to be diagnosed with PTSD in a professional role, you're going to have strong problem-solving skills, because we come to situations and we solve them quickly. But then when it comes to our own life, we shut down. We're so tired from solving so many problems throughout the day on our shift that when we come home, it's like, no, we're going to veg. Instead of grabbing a journal and writing down, okay, how do I feel? What did this shift cause me to do? We lock down. But you begin to utilize these natural talents, and it's going to allow you to create those personal coping strategies. And then it's going to be your life, and your personal and professional life is going to be more effective, and it's going to be more sustainable over time to build this journey. But again, you have to identify and build your strength yourself. You have to focus on within. Because when you focus within, it's going to lead to increased self-awareness. It's going to lead to improved relationships. And it's going to lead to that more fulfilling life overall. You're going to shift from surviving to thriving. So how do we begin to align values with our goals? First, you have to begin by understanding and identifying your core values. Identifying things like service, courage, integrity, because these are going to lay that foundation for that meaningful recovery journey. These values act as your personal compass. And it's going to help you navigate these challenges and make decisions that are in harmony with your true self. When you go out there and you're like, I give you a suggestion, I'm like, hey, try this, and it doesn't harmonize with you, it's not going to be effective. It's not going to work. Which is why I have numerous different techniques that I give my clients, because when I do this, it kind of helps them. It's like, well, try this. Okay, that doesn't work. It doesn't harmonize with you. Okay, try this, right? And I'll keep trying different aspects and different coping mechanisms to assist you to try something that you find will harmonize with you. And then when you clearly identify what matters to you most, you can set recovery goals that are not only effective, but are deeply fulfilling. Right? It took me years to figure out that my recovery goal and my purpose in life was to assist first responders suffering with post-traumatic stress disorder. It took me years to figure that out. And often we're always trying to find that band-aid. We're trying to be like, okay, I'm suffering post-traumatic stress disorder. How do I get over this today? And that's a lifelong journey, my friends. But when you can align your recovery efforts with your personal values, it's going to enhance your motivation. Right? When you're like, look, this is exactly how I feel. I love getting up in the morning. I love creating these podcasts. I love talking to first responders who are in the flow and creating that harmonizing balance within their life. I love this stuff. But you have to find that for yourself. Because it's going to transform your life. It's going to transform your recovery routine. And it's going to make each task that you do meaningful again. And it's going to make it easier to stay connected and engaged in this healing process. So by integrating your core values into your recovery plan, you shift from focusing merely on overcoming obstacles to embracing in this holistic journey of personal growth. This value-driven approach empowers you to thrive rather than just survive, fostering that sense of fulfillment and that sense of purpose. And then in turn, the recovering process is an opportunity to live a more authentic and intentional life. And that's what we want to create. That's what we want to have in our lives. So the exercise for today is just very simple, as I love doing. It's for your journal. So over the next week here, write in your journal the strengths and values that you can reflect on. So here's 4 questions that you can do. So what are 3 of my greatest strengths that have helped me navigate difficult situations in the past? Number 2 is, what are my top 3 core values? Examples are like family, loyalty, service, things like that. You can even Google core values and there'll be a list, or Google something like list my core values and it will have an immense list of different values. What I'll do actually is I'll create a PDF and I'll put it in the description of this, where you can actually, it's just a bunch of lists of core values. And then the third question is, how can I use these strengths and values to support my recovery from PTSD? And then number 4 is to write down one action step, because creating something and not actionizing is not going to do anything. So create one action step that you can take this week to align your recovery journey with one of your core values. And that is going to create that baseline, that foundation to continue on this journey that I've hoped you and trust that you've been on with me over the last 6 months. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me on this insightful journey into the power of positive psychology in navigating your PTSD. Now, I explored things like shifting your focus from what's wrong to what's strong, and this can make that profound difference in the healing process. By identifying and leveraging personal strengths like resilience, leadership, empathy, you're not only building a robust defense against the challenges of PTSD, you're also paving the way for personal growth and fulfillment. I talked about the importance of aligning our recovery efforts with our core values, right? The fundamental beliefs like service, courage, integrity that really define who we are. And by doing so, you transform your recovery process from a series of obstacles to overcome into that meaningful, value-driven journey towards that holistic well-being. Remember, the path to healing isn't a solo endeavor. It's about engaging with practices that resonate with you, right? Gratitude journaling, mindfulness meditation, constantly reflecting on your strengths and values to guide your way forward. But as I wrap up today's episode, I encourage you to take the time to engage in the strengths and values reflection journal exercise that I told you, right? Revisit it regularly. Every 6 months, go back and say, do I still align with my core values? Deepen your approach to your healing. My friends, your journey is unique. And by harnessing the power of your strength and values, you're not only surviving, you're thriving. And finally, if you found this episode helpful, please share it. There are many people out there that don't know me, don't know my story, and I want to help as many people as I can. Share your story and help as many people as you can. Let's remove the stigma. Let's create the positive psychology within people for their journey. Thank you for tuning in to Shields Down, Healing for First Responders. Remember, healing is a journey, and each step forward matters. Now, if today's episode resonated with you, share it with someone who might need it. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories, insights, and tools for recovery. Together, we'll build a stronger, more resilient community. Until next time, stay safe, stay strong, and we'll see you on the next episode.